So don't ask me. And if you're going to ask me and I say no, then don't lecture me. And if you're going to lecture me, then go fuck yourself with your bag.
Now, there are institutions that will help these people who choose to live homeless here in Pico Robertson. I'm not at all sure that goodness in the world would not be increased if instead of giving money to these people in Pico Robertson, instead we spat on them. I know that sounds horrible, like, spit on them, but we're just encouraging this dysfunctional, horrible behavior. And if instead they were shunned, they might go to institutions that prepared to help with them and work with them in exchange for them conforming to certain levels of behavior. And this is also another reason why I hate with a passion, I hate drugs and alcohol. I hate drugs and alcohol because 90% of these people have had serious damaging addictions to drugs or alcohol.
Oh yeah, I want to tell you a story.
Yeah, go ahead.
In my building, right?
Right.
We had a homeless guy living in the parking lot, if you will, in the carport.
Mm-hmm.
He was living in the carport,
Mm-hmm.
and he was an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, total alcoholic. The guy was
Mm-hmm.
drunk all the time, and he had his bottle with him.
Mm-hmm.
And like people are like, trying to go to work and whatever,
Yeah.
And it's like this guy is like laying there. It's like, excuse me, how much are you paying for rent for that spot?
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
it's like, I know how much rent costs so that I can park here. How much are you paying for rent so that you
Right.
can sleep there? You know what I mean? And what are they saying?
No, I keep going with the
Okay.
point. Yeah.
And it's like, the guy's not capable, and he's like, can I have money? So I did a really dumb thing. I gave the guy $5 one day.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I gave him $5,
Ah,
guess what happened
he
next?
kept asking you.
He
again.
never, I would see this guy every fucking day, and he would start harassing me, shaking
Yeah.
me down for more money. And I said, okay, I'm never giving this guy another dime. And I said, you know what? I gave you $5. You spent it clearly on beer, right? I'm not going to support your beer habit, And I told landlords and everything, you got to deal with this person. We even called the police a few times, to get. But you know what I mean? There's so much they can do. They come like 3 times. The cops have to come and see the guy 3 times before they'll pick him up. And you know what he did to boot? You talk about spitting on it. You know what he did? He took a shit on the car park.
Yeah.
He took a shit right there on the car park.
Yeah. That's not Menschlichkeit, folks.
No, and if you're gonna take a shit on somebody else's car spot, you should.
Don't ask him for money.
Yeah, don't ask them for money because it's just like it's just. And I used to be nervous because I used to pull up.
Yeah, it's
I used to
disgusting.
pull up
Yeah.
with my fiance.
Yeah.
And she was very young,
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like, she's like 18, 19. I would pull up. And there's this Schwarzer, right? Drunk out of his fucking mind, right? And he's like, hey, how's your lady going, man? How about a $5? Hey, Rabbi, how about a $5? How's your lady? And I'm starting to think, is he messaging me subtly, like if you don't give me $5, I'm going to do something to your lady friend. And then I feel like it's extortion.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get scared.
Yeah.
Like this guy knows where my car, and I have to leave it with him. Like he's going to be now my car attendant. He sees my, my fiance. I'm like nervous.
Imagine there was no government welfare. None. Do you think we'd have more or less of this kind of behavior?
If there was no welfare?
None.
Well, this guy wasn't on welfare.
I know, but
If he was, he'd be doing
if the
a lot.
society decided no welfare, none, do you think we'd have more or less of these?
I think everyone would turn into that. Look at me. Look at me right now. I have no income. I can't afford anything. I have no medical insurance. I can't afford to see a doctor. I've got nothing, right? So I had to go to county hospital, right? If like your balls ache, you go to county hospital, right? So if there was no county hospital, and this is all, government money, right? If there was no county, what would happen to me?
You would have to go to a private.
I don't have any money. They won't take it.
No, there'd be private charitable hospitals. Like before government paid for this kind of, there were private hospitals that helped the poor.
Okay,
But they would generally make demands on people that they live to a certain standard of behavior. So most of them were Christian, for instance.
Okay.
And they'd ask, demand that you'd listen to a lecture on Jesus before they'd help you.
Well.
Or they'd ask for certain standards of behavior. But I think if there was no welfare, people would be much more careful to maintain good relationships with the family and with other people in general and with community. So that before there was workman's compensation, for instance, if you're a member of a shul, for a while, and like you lost a leg or you went blind, like the shul would get together and take care of you. So if there's not society there to pick you up, people would be much more liable to form strong bonds. Like you should be able to get health insurance through your synagogue. Like you join with a shul and you create a community together, and collectively you guys would purchase health insurance, and then you'd have an incentive to watch how other people behave so that they don't drive up medical expenses.
Greg wrote, no better way to mark your territory than to excrete a pungent, malodorous fecal mess.
Oh, Greg is quite the wordsmith, isn't he?
I know, that was pretty good. I like that.
So, the United States is the only Western country that doesn't have a dole for able-bodied men. What do you think about that?
Doesn't have a what?
A dole, welfare payments for able-bodied men. Like in every other country, you would be able to collect a living amount of money just for breathing.
Every other country?
Every other Western country.
Really?
Yeah, Australia, you can get the dole.
Why can't I get that here?
There isn't one in the United States.
Oh.
They call it the dole. But England, Australia, Europe, every Western country.
They take care of the poor.
Yeah, you get the dole. Like if you don't have a job.
You know, I've had this discussion with people lately because I'm not a huge socialist, but I do believe in taking care of the poor.
Yeah, I believe in it too. But do you believe, in the government doing it, or do you believe in private entities?
Well, right now I'm there. I don't qualify for welfare, straight welfare.
Right, there's no welfare really for able-bodied men. There's not the dole.
Right, I can't get Medicare,
right,
or Medicaid because I'm not 65,
right,
and I don't have kids. Not having kids really fucks you over because all the welfare programs are all designed for people who have kids. Because we got to take care of your kids. We have to take care of your kids. With society, we have a responsibility to make sure your kids are taken care for.
Yeah.
So even if you are a derelict, we don't give a fucking shit. But your kids have to be taken care of. What is the reason? Where are you going?
I'm getting water. Keep going.
Why don't you want me to get you another water?
No. I got it.
Okay. So somebody without kids can go fuck themselves because our society only cares about people with kids. So that's the big fuck you that everybody here in America gives me because I don't want kids. So I've been paying the highest amount of taxes of anybody in America when I was working. Because I couldn't get these write-offs. Because people have kids and they get the big write-offs on them and they send them to daycare and they get all that shit written off. I don't get that shit written off, okay? Because I don't have kids. So I don't have those deductions, right? Because America loves people who have kids. And you know why? Because 98%, I have statistics on that, right, of people have kids, right? And it's a breeder society. It's all about breeders. And God forbid somebody like me should come along and not have kids. You can go fuck yourself. You're going to pay the highest taxes. And when you run out of money and you no longer work and you want to collect from the government, you've been paying into the system at the highest rates for years, for 20 years, you've been paying into the highest rates, you go fuck yourself again because we ain't going to give you shit because you don't have kids. So I don't qualify for even the simplest welfare that other people who with families will get like in an instant, right? If you have a family, DPSS will save your ass. But if you're a single and you go in there and they go, how do you afford your apartment? How do you do this? And then they start giving you all this shit and then you're not going to get anything, right? If you have over $50 to your name and you go, well, I've got $100 to my name, then you don't qualify. Basically, you have to be home. If you're a single person, you have to be homeless. You can't have a dime and you have to be in a carport taking a shit on somebody's property. Then the government will come in and gladly give you, welfare relief. If you take a shit on somebody else's lawn because you don't have a place to live, thank God the government's there for you. But if you're not there yet, then you should try to end up like there. That's the message. Or just go out and have kids like everybody else. Go abuse kids, like everybody else, So that's the message here in America. You know what I mean? And there really isn't, like you said, what do you call it?
The dole.
The dole. There's no dole here. You go fuck yourself if you're single. If you're single.
If you're a man.
If you're also a woman, they're not going to take care of you if you're a single woman.
I think it's much easier to get support if you're a woman, but
if you're a single woman,
yeah.
If you have kids, you'll have it.
Okay, so what was the thing you want to talk about, Solomon?
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have kids